So, as you can see, I have managed to find peace within myself. I have managed to be happy with who I am, kind of accept myself for who I am, and be happy without needing like any external source. Basically, I managed to find happiness that comes from within. And before I tell you how I managed to do that, I need you to take back to the very beginning so that you can understand basically my whole psychology, basically why I have always done the things I have done throughout my life, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, as you may or may not know, I am very passionate about entertainment. I grew up a lot watching TV series and movies, and it played a big part in my childhood, which is why I am so passionate about entertainment. But basically, I kind of had this theory that my life was like a TV show in an alternate universe. And I had, throughout middle school, I have created this character that I told myself that this is the character that I am in this TV series known as my life. And the character I created was tough, masculine, handsome, really entertaining, really interesting. Think of like James Bond or Walter White from Breaking Bad or something similar. It was that kind of character that I had created for myself. And I really loved being that character. I had convinced myself that I am this character and I absolutely loved it. And so, when I got rejected by this girl I had a crush on in middle school, I was confused because I was like, I am such an amazing character. How could she reject me? And so I kept asking her multiple times because I was that kind of guy who could not take no for an answer. I was like, how can you not like me? I am so handsome, I am so interesting, I am such an amazing character. I am such an amazing person. I did not tell her like a character. I told her, I was like, is there anything wrong with me? Or maybe there's something wrong with you. It's not what I said, but I was like, is there anything wrong with me? Like, why do you not, why did you reject me? But she never gave a clear answer. She was like, I just don't feel the same way you do. But I did not understand why. Eventually I got contacted by my gym teacher, who happened to be like, he was like a therapist, a school therapist or something, who had talked with her, and then he talked with me and told like, you need to leave this girl alone, you are making her really sad. And stop asking why, she just doesn't like you, move on. And I did not understand why she did not like someone that was so interesting, entertaining, and awesome as the character I have created. And so I kind of asked some psychologists and my friends at the time, and they all told me, sometimes people just don't feel the same. Don't take it personally, you just weren't meant for her, but there's someone out there for you. And so in my mind I was like, they are right. This girl doesn't realize how amazing I am, but everyone else will. Other girls will. But then I started getting brutally rejected by every other girl. Meanwhile, my peers were getting into relationships, but I was being rejected. And how did it made me feel? It made me feel stupid for thinking that I was so awesome, because turns out I probably had overestimated myself, and it also made me feel it made me feel stupid for basically making this girl uncomfortable. I was not sad because the first girl rejected me. It was more because of the way I treated her, because I could not take a no for an answer, because I thought I was such an amazing character. I thought I was so handsome, I thought I was so entertaining and stuff. And now, part of me started realizing that perhaps I am not that handsome, perhaps I am not that interesting, perhaps I am not that awesome. And perhaps that girl had every right to reject me. Perhaps I am a terrible person, and if I was a terrible person, then I started feeling stupid for thinking that I was so amazing, and because of my stupidity, I had to make this girl uncomfortable. And because of that, I started feeling really guilty. I started feeling like I need to be punished for my actions. Keep in mind that I grew up watching a lot of like action movies because, once again, I grew up watching a lot of entertainment. And I grew up a lot with the trope where the bad guy basically gets punished at the end. He dies a gruesome death. Think of all the like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. But anyways, I therefore thought that I deserved to be punished for my actions. And I felt like I got away with the horrible things I did to that girl scot-free. And because of that, I had this guilt within me. And I could not stand feeling this guilt. And so I thought, I need to be punished. I need a good punishment so that I can learn my lesson. And I was not okay with any punishment. I was feeling so guilty that I felt like I needed some extreme punishment. Like, I needed to die in a gruesome death. I needed to perhaps be skinned alive by women, the same way Governor Radcliffe was. I needed to be tortured by all the girls I had hurt specifically. Something like that. And if I didn't, I would still feel this extreme feeling of guilt that I could not stand. And so I only had two options. Either get punished and basically ruin my life and die a gruesome death, or get away scot-free, only to still have that feeling of guilt until I would get punished. So, still not living a good life, at least not in here. And so, it was basically a lose-lose situation. Except, there was a third option for me. I wanted to prove that I did not deserve to be punished. That I was never wrong for making that girl uncomfortable. That I was indeed handsome. That I was indeed this awesome guy I thought I was. And that all the girls that rejected me, that they were in the wrong. That they were the bad guys and I was the hero. Because whenever I felt like a hero, I would no longer feel the need to be punished. And this is why, for all those years, the only thing that gave me true happiness was whenever I felt attractive to the opposite gender. And now I realize it's because those were the only times when I did not feel the need to be punished. The only times when I would no longer have this feeling of guilt within me. And I kind of felt at peace with myself during those few times. So this is why all the time I needed to prove to the universe that I am this ultra attractive alpha male, like 10 out of 10 super attractive model man, super attractive to the opposite gender and stuff. But the problem with that was that I ended up being desperate. I constantly needed girls' approval so that I would feel like oh, actually I am attractive. So I was not stupid for not taking no for an answer, because I truly am attractive, and anyone who rejects me, it's their fault. It's on them and not on me. I always had to convince this to myself, and because of that, I constantly needed like external validation from girls. And the problem with that is that paradoxically, I have realized that constantly needing external validation from girls is not considered attractive. And I needed to prove that I am attractive. And eventually, I started following this advice that everyone says. Focus on yourself and girls will come as a bonus. And I realized, what I truly wanted in my life was not to have a girlfriend, was not necessarily girls. What I truly wanted was to feel attractive, so that I no longer would feel the need to be punished, so that I no longer would feel this, like, feeling of guilt within me. And so, I wanted to kind of be this character I have created for myself, without feeling guilty for being this character, without feeling like I was stupid for thinking that this character was awesome. And so I started this YouTube channel, and I was like, look at me, I am this amazing character. I don't need a girlfriend, because what truly makes me happy is loving this characters that I play as, and the character I have convinced myself that I am. But what happened was that I ended up getting a lot of hate on my videos. And I started coping and being like, oh, this hate only comes from incels, women and high value men. They understand how amazing my character was. And I started watching myself and being like, oh my god, like, I look and sound like a quote-unquote disgusting spurg, and not like the ultra-masculine, ultra-attractive man I have thought I was. And once again I started coping. Oh, it's only because of the camera. The camera makes me look ugly, but in real life I am super attractive, and everyone who has seen me in real life knows how attractive I am. I started telling myself this cope. But what eventually made me switch things up was when I found out that I made people in real life uncomfortable. The people that I knew in my personal life felt bad watching my videos. And I was like, I'm doing whatever I want, whatever makes me happy. If I get a lot of hate and stuff, it doesn't matter. I do the stuff that makes me happy. But when someone else has to suffer because of the things I'm putting out on the internet, like, I thought that was the straws that broke the camel's back or whatever. And so that's how I kind of realized that I can no longer keep up with this charade. I can no longer prove to everyone that I am indeed the hero that doesn't need to be punished. Only the girls that rejected me are in the wrong, and I am like innocent or whatever. I am truly attractive. Those girls just did not realize how amazing I am. I could no longer prove that. And so the only thing that was left for me at this point was feeling guilt and feeling like I had to punish myself. And so this is what I then started doing on my YouTube channel. And I even said the only thing that ever made me happier than anything else was feeling attractive. But the second thing that would make me happy, not as happy but more happy than anything else, was basically calling out my younger self and calling him a fatherless beta male loser. But it wasn't necessarily calling out my younger self. It was calling out myself in general. And this is where the psychology comes from, because if I no longer could prove like to everyone that I am attractive so that I no longer would feel the need to be punished, I would now suddenly feel the need to be punished. And so what I later did here on this channel was basically punish myself. Calling myself a disgusting spurg over and over again. Basically criticizing myself, hating on myself, and claiming that the world would be better off without me. Especially in the video where I talk about me hating my voice. But what I then realized was that I then had this some kind of like revelation, like epiphany, where I realized that if you try to be a good person, and I wasn't necessarily trying to be a good person, but if you try to be a good person and people still don't like you, then it's not your problem, then it's their problem, and you can take comfort in the fact that you at least tried to be a good person, and you at least did your best. And then you no longer really feel the need to be punished if someone doesn't like you. But if you are not trying to be a good person, then you cannot have the excuse that, oh, it's not my problem, it's their problem, there's nothing wrong with me, everything is wrong with them. Then you cannot blame everyone but yourself. Then you have to blame yourself if you are not trying to be a good person. And so I made this New Year's resolution for 2025, that I would do my best to make other people feel happy. And if I can't make people happy, then I can take comfort in the fact that at least I tried my best to make other people happy. And that required me to kind of step outside of the character I have created. I started smiling and laughing more often when talking to people. And this went against my character, because I was like, smiling and laughing is for ladies. I am too masculine, I am too alpha to laugh and smile. But I can make exceptions if that can make other people feel good. My character does not laugh and smile, but my character can pretend to laugh and smile if that can make other people happy. Also being humble. I thought being humble is cringe. I thought it was like not having self-respect. Like whenever someone tells you, wow, you did such a great job, and you're like, no, I did nothing. To me it's like, come on, have some self-respect for God's sake. You did something good. Acknowledge it. Own it. But like, so when people are humble, to me it's like they lack self-respect. And so I thought being humble is cringe. But I realized people seem to enjoy whenever someone is humble. So I was like, okay, my character is not humble, but my character can pretend to be humble. And so my character started pretending, doing a bunch of stuff. Kind of as a social experiment to see what would happen. And what I realized was that when I started like pretending to do all those stuff, not only did people start to like me more, girls included, but people seemed to genuinely be happy. I feel like I genuinely made their lives better. Sure, I was just putting on a mask, but it led to something good. It led to people actually benefiting from me. And when I then realized that girls suddenly started feeling happy while being around me, I no longer felt like this super villain that needed to get punished. I suddenly realized that, sure, I might have hurt people, but I also made people feel good. And so I wasn't the monster I thought I was. And that made me appreciate myself. Like, I started loving myself because I had the potential. I had the ability to genuinely better other people's lives, to genuinely make other people happy. And because of that, I suddenly started feeling like this character in Squid Game. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil Squid Game, so I'm not gonna really reveal it here, but if you have seen the 2 seasons, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Like, sure, I was pretending to be a good guy, but it led to good outcome, and I found some like purpose in my life in that. I realized that my purpose in life would now be to try my best to make other people happy. And because of that, I started loving myself again, just like I did back in 2016, but this time I did not need any external validation. And I literally started playing this like Korean song that was in Squid Game. It's not a spoiler because this is a popular Korean song even outside of Squid Game. I started playing this song like on repeat while walking on the street on my headphones and literally feeling badass. I started literally feeling like the attractive, badass, entertaining character that I previously thought I was. And this time it wasn't coming from an external source. This time it wasn't me coping with like some self-hatred deep down. This time it was because I finally figured out that I had the potential to genuinely make other people's lives better. I found some enjoyment and fulfillment in that. And yeah, ironically enough, people started telling me that like, yeah, you are an entertaining, interesting guy now. Stuff like that. Basically, it's all I had to say, but I will probably talk more about this in future videos.